What do you make of the decision to lift the migration rate?
Well, again, there were two things that came out of the summit that I think should have been done 100 days ago. The first was obviously the adoption of Peter Dutton's policy to allow veterans and pensioners to work the extra day per week. Employers had been screaming for that. And what do we get from Mr Albanese after the summit? A very strange half-baked attempt to go halfway towards realising what Peter Dutton had put on the table. So again, a dismal failure and a great disappointment to businesses. But also, it didn't take a summit to tell you that we do need more workers in Australia. We have a massive skill shortage in Australia, and part of that solution is to bring in...
Do you support the 195,000?
Well, the devil is always in the detail with Labor. Let me tell you what I don't support. I don't support these people being given a union induction at the border and potentially union membership. So with Labor, Andrew, as you and I know, the devil will always be in the detail. What we have at the moment is an announcement that has been welcomed. However, let's now wait and see whether or not they deliver on the union's demands for union induction at the border and potentially union membership. The devil is always in the detail with Mr Albanese and the Labor government.
All right. I wanted to ask you about this letter that Tony Burke has written encouraging the Fair Work Commission not to listen to employers' requests to cancel enterprise bargaining agreements. Now, Tony Burke denies this is to do with the New South Wales rail dispute. The New South Wales IR Minister has no doubt it's to do with the New South Wales rail dispute. What's your view?
Andrew, this is without a doubt one of the most concerning things I have seen in the first 100 days of Mr Albanese's government. For a minister in the government to write to the Independent Fair Work Commission and seek to influence them in how they make decisions, that should deeply concern all Australians. The role of a tribunal, the role of a court, is to interpret the law as it stands, not as Mr Burke and Mr Albanese would like it to be. I'm also very concerned that in doing this, they're actually preempting the Australian Senate. The Australian Senate itself may not agree to this alleged change. So I think some very serious questions arise, in particular in relation to integrity. And I actually believe Mr Dreyfus, as the Attorney-General of Australia, should come out and say whether or not under the Albanese government this is an appropriate course of action for a minister to seek to openly influence an independent tribunal in its deliberations. Is this the appropriate course of action? And is this just going to be the hallmark of the Albanese government? So, Andrew, very, very concerning. And I think the fact that the relevant union has come out totally emboldened by this, and in particular following the Jobs Summit, clearly yet again just shows Australians this summit was nothing more than a talk fest, and it is now literally a summit that is delivering on the agenda of the Australian union movement. The Albanese government, the Labor Party of Australia, are paying their paymasters. That's it.
Just finally, Michaelia, you were pretty strong in your comments earlier in the week concerning this apparent breach of the Ministerial Code of Conduct by 3 ministers having shares. Could this have been an oversight or accident on their part? Do you think this breach is worthy of sacking as opposed to, say, a warning? What do you make of the government's reaction to it?
Well, I think the government's reaction shows that they are all talk when it comes to integrity and transparency. There was a lot of fanfare by Mr Albanese when he launched the new Ministerial Code of Conduct. The fact of the matter is, it is very clear a breach, Andrew, has occurred. What does Mr Albanese do? He comes out and he says he has no concerns. Well, that should worry the Australian people because the code is very, very clear. A breach has occurred. It doesn't matter now that they're trying to rid themselves of the shares, or in Ms McBain's case, she transferred them to her husband, which in itself is a breach of the ministerial code. So quite frankly, if Mr Albanese wants to be taken seriously, when it comes to integrity, transparency in his ministerial code of conduct, then he really does need to stand up today and properly address this matter. Because to date, all we've seen from him is a total failure in terms of his leadership.
Michaelia Cash, thanks so much for your time.
Great to be with you.